three more NLP tasks today, starting with the very simple one. It's called fill mask. Okay, so using the pipeline, the default model is distill robusta. Okay, and then so here we have a sentence. Now this can be a paragraph, and we have a bunch of words missing, right? In this case, only one. So the model try to come up with the most appropriate word. Okay. So for this one, the model is saying the capital as its first choice. So Paris is the capital of France. And the second choice, it's Paris is the birthplace of France. Paris is the heart of France, the envy. And the finally, it's another one, capital. So these two are the same, except this here we have the uppercase letter. But so those are the sorts of suggestions the model come up with, and the highest score is given to this capital, which makes sense, right? Paris is the capital of France, and here we have about a 0.7 confidence score. Now let's look at one more example. This is a simple and a mask, right? Now this sentence is too generic, right? And many words can fit into this solution, right? For example, this is a simple example. This is a simple fix. This is a simple quiz. This is a simple solution. This is a simple recipe, etc. Right? Because so many words can fit appropriately. The scores are quite low here, right? So these are just the tie examples, right? I mean, when you have a paragraph, the model is going to learn from the paragraph what is the context, what it is saying, etc. So it's going to come up with the most appropriate words, and probably will have a much higher confidence scores as well. Okay, and then we can have multiple masks. Again, this is a too short sentence, and with only 5 or 6 words and already missing 2 masks. But I just want to show you the output format, right? So here it is a list of lists, and within list, each element is again a list, right? And each element will answer one mask. Okay, so this one is about this one. So it is saying Paris is, Paris remains, Paris become. Those are the sorts of things, right? And for the second one, it still says republic, capital, sovereignty, etc. Right? So when we have a paragraph with enough text, enough context to it, the model will understand better and give the response with better scores, right? Next, text generation. I guess the most used NLP use case these days because of the ChatGPT. And here the model itself is a GPT version, but it's 2. The latest model we have is 4. Okay, so the task is text generation. All right, so here we give a prompt in ChatGPT language. Hello, I'm a language model, right? So it's going to expand this text. It's going to generate some text based on the prompt or the initial sequence we give, right? So it came up with this suggestion, right? So it's saying, hello, I'm a language modeler. I can also express patterns written to different things in different languages. In this article, I will cover some of your patterns. I have not written anything about specific language, nor will. Okay. And then these models takes a number of parameters which are really important, right? So for example, here we can say the maximum new tokens. So in this one, each token, each word is counted as a token. Now we can also have the number of answers, which is this number written sequences. Okay. Now these two are important if we are using paid models, because the price usually depends on how many new tokens we are generating. Okay, if we are generating a text versus a paragraph versus a very long essay, the price increases. Okay, and also how many answers, right? So here we are saying, hey, my maximum generated tokens should be 30, and I want 3 such answers. Okay, So what is returned is a list, and each element is one answer. So this is one answer. Again, it's saying, hello, I'm a language model. I was raised in an understanding of machine learning, how to code into different programs and then use that knowledge to learn the language. And then again, the second answer or the response, hello, I'm a language modeler, and the reason we are here is to communicate, etc. Right? So these are the three responses with the maximum tokens 30. Okay. And finally, here we have one more example, number of return sequences. Well, we have already covered here. So, yep. So here we are going to get 4 responses. Again, since we did not give the maximum tokens, there is probably some default parameter. So let's see. So the maximum length, okay. So this is 50. So by default, this specific model generate 50 tokens. All right, why is this in there? So let's see what model it is. Text generation, transformers generation. Why is it in printing the model name? But I think it's the Distill Roboto. Okay, Hugging Face main classes text generation. Sorry. This is the model, right? Sorry. Here we have explicitly providing the model, which is GPT-2. Usually these models are very big in length, the name. So I was searching for a longer string here, but the model is GPT-2. Okay, so by default, it generates 50 tokens. All right, and then finally, summarization, which is another most common NLP use case these days. So the task is summarization. We did not provide the model. So it's again this DistillBot CNN model. Okay. Now, here we have a text or sequence, and we ask the model to summarize it for us. Now the response, it's saying, hey, by default, the maximum length is 142. Here we did not set, so that it is taking the maximum length, but the text we given contain only 96 tokens. Okay, so this text, it contain only 96, but by default, I summarize the text to 142 tokens. So the model is simply returning whatever the input we gave as it is. Okay, so for such models, the parameters becomes important, right? So similar to the text generation, for text summarization also, the maximum number of tokens is important. So here we have the same text, but this time we are explicitly stating, I want you to summarize this for me, and the summary should have a minimum of 30 tokens and maximum of 50 tokens, right? So this is our input which has about 96 tokens, right? 96 tokens. Now this is the summary of it, and the number of tokens would be between 30 to 50. Okay. All right. So I guess it summarizes the important piece of information. So here we have the population. So it has captured the population and the year. So then there is probably some very generic information. The city is the center of state of government, region and province of something, right? City is the center and state of. So yeah, it try to reduce the words from this sentence. All right. Now here we have a very long text. This is actually a story generated using ChatGPT. It has, I guess, hundreds of tokens, right? So we asked it to summarize, and we haven't provided the default maximum tokens, so it should be summarizing in 96 tokens. So the story gets summarized in maximum 96 tokens. Okay. That's all for today. A very quick recap. Here we start with this mask, which is the simplest one. The model simply tries to guess the most appropriate word, and it will also return the score. When we have very specific text with some maybe paragraph with a specific context, then we'll have much better results, unlike the very generic string here. And then we looked at the text generation. So here we give either a prompt or the initial text, a short text. Then the model going to generate or expand the text for us. There are two very important parameters: the maximum tokens and the number of answers. Okay, so we can specify it so that if we want a small paragraph, or if we want an essay, or if we want a long essay, etc., right? But when we have paid models like ChatGPT, the price depends on how many maximum tokens we are generating in the output, and also the number of answers. In fact, the price also depends on our input token length. Okay, but this input token length, that cost will be very small compared to this output token price per token. Okay, and finally we looked at the summarization. So basically we simply provide a long text and ask the model to summarize it for us. Now by default, the model summarizes the text in 142 words. If our text is below 142 already, the model simply return our text as it is. So that's why we can set the minimum and maximum length. Okay, and finally we looked at a long story and the summary of it in less than 142 words. That's all for today. Thank you very much.